Howdy, I'm Austin Larson, and this is the Ex-Girlfriend Tattoo Podcast. Fuck, it feels good to be saying that again. I hope everyone's been staying safe and healthy. I'm so sorry I was gone for a while. Before COVID hit, I was already planning on taking a brief hiatus. I ended up having to self-isolate. That ended up exacerbating some personal issues I was already dealing with. Long story short, I just had to step away for a little bit. I'm sorry I didn't make an announcement or anything, but it all kind of happened suddenly and before I really figured out exactly what was going on. So, thank you to everyone who's still listening, thank you to everyone that's reached out to me. In other news, this show officially has a call-in line. We can be reached at 509-713-2217. 99% of the time, I'm not going to answer, but please feel free to leave either a voicemail or a text like these fans did.
Welcome to Google Voice.
I know it was you who shit in my toilet.
I would be a big fan of your show if it didn't fucking suck.
I'm gonna hunt you down.
Sobriety avoiding, credit destroying, fuck boy. Woo!
I think one of those might have been me. Again, that number is 509-713-2217. Another exciting change is my studio setup. My roommate moved out, so I moved the studio out of my living room and into the spare bedroom. I also upgraded my equipment. Before, I was recording mainly with my Samson Q2U, and then whenever I'd have a guest in the studio, I'd mic us both with Samson R21s. However, here in my new studio, I've swapped those mics out for two Samson CO1s. Will the show sound better? You're gonna have to tell me. Will it finally be worth listening to? Probably not. This is the Literary Tattoos episode, so all of my guests will be discussing literature-related tattoos today. I don't personally have any true literature tattoos, but my first guest was eager to share her experience. Here's Loran.
You're listening to the Ex-Girlfriend Tattoo Podcast.
Loran, thank you so much for returning to the show. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. You've been on more episodes of this show than you haven't, I feel like.
I think I finally beat Cam, and that was the goal here, so.
Shit, yeah, no, I think that, yeah. And even if you haven't been on as many times, I feel like you're at least passively, at the very least, you're passively mentioned in every episode.
It's pretty neat.
Let's see, I think the last episode I actually had you on was the first episode of Austin Talks Through the Movie, right, with Cruel Jaws?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it.
Oh my god, that was I can't wait for you to be here next week. I've got a couple more movies picked out. I'm really fucking excited.
No, me too, for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, this is the Literary Tattoos episode of the Ex-Girlfriend Tattoo Podcast, and you have one that you're going to tell us about today, right?
I sure do.
All right. And how about you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about that?
So, it's a Harry Potter tattoo, which I got when I was 25, like my first actual big tattoo, I guess. Bigger than all the other ones at the time. It's on my ribs, and it's definitely the stereotypical, which I didn't realize was going to be at the time, the always with the Deathly Hollows as the A and the little squiggly Y and the stars. So it's, I think I've met like 3 other people that have this tattoo now, so it's definitely not unique at all, but it's there.
Wait, the always thing is a Harry Potter thing?
Yeah, it's even after all. Yeah.
I thought everyone was just super into Blink. Okay, so was there a catalyst for you getting that tattoo?
What do you mean?
I guess, was there like just what inspired you to like stop having the idea and go out and actually put it on your ribs? Was there like or did you just feel like it? I mean, I've gotten tattoos for that reason, no shame in it.
I feel like it was more of like it meant something to me more than like tattoos now I get. It's one of those like I grew up reading it. Like I got my first book when I was like in 4th grade and then quit reading them. And then when the first movie came out, I was like, oh shit, this is actually something I'm really into. So I like picked up and read all the books in high school and like went to the midnight premieres of the movies and I was like way more into it than I probably should have been. But
everybody's into something. I mean,
right?
Hey, no shame in it. All right, so as an adult, do you still feel like you enjoy Harry Potter?
I feel like it's a little bit taboo now, especially with JK saying things that she said.
I was going to actually get to that.
Yeah.
Okay, you still enjoy them, but not as much as you did back then?
I don't know, is it one of those, like, separate the art from the artist kind of things?
I mean, I was listening to fucking Deja Entendu before I called you, so I don't know, is it?
I feel like maybe. It's one of those, like, I grew up with it. I can't just, like, oh, well, fuck this, you know. I still enjoy it, but obviously her as a person I do not enjoy, so.
So, what was your favorite entry in the series?
Ooh, Prisoner of Azkaban, I think, and then Order of the Phoenix. They're pretty much tied.
You did mention that you've met other people with this tattoo. Is it something that when people see it, it's always immediately recognized?
Oh, for sure. Everybody's like, oh, you like when I go to like the theme parks. Everybody's like, oh, you have a Harry Potter tattoo, and I'm like, I have to show them like in the middle of the park. I'm like, here, yeah, let me see, and we compare, and it's like everybody knows what it is.
No, I totally understand that. How many people do you know of? If you don't know the exact amount, but people with that same tattoo?
Oh, like a handful for sure. Like people I've seen online, or like have like not necessarily the exact same, but very similar.
I was actually thinking about it earlier today. Let's see, I was trying to think. I knew one girl in high school who had it on her neck, and then I knew another girl who had it like on the forearm, and then I knew a dude who had it on the forearm too. So in your opinion, were the films faithful to the books?
I think they're the best adaptation from like book to movie that I've ever seen. Yes. Obviously, you can't get everything perfectly like the same, and they've missed out like a couple of things, but they're pretty spot on for sure.
Better than Jaws?
I've never read Jaws. Am I the worst now?
I mean, a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Nah, well, honestly, I feel that the not on topic, but I do feel like the film adaptation of Jaws does deviate a lot from the book, but it's a lot more watchable that way, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, now, Grant, like, I would have liked to see Hooper just fucking giving Mrs. Brody the business like he does in the book, but...
I mean, I think there's definitely some things that are in books that they don't transfer over well.
Oh, exactly. Like, another thing, Jaws, yeah, and I could be wrong because I haven't read that book since high school. I believe the main difference is when they finally go out to sea, they come home every night and then go back in the morning. They aren't just out at sea for 3 days, and I mean, that's... yeah. Would you change anything about that tattoo?
I've thought about it. I think I might want to add something more to it in the future, possibly. But it's for what it is, it's not bad.
All right, but no regrets or anything. Like if you could undo it or like change something before you got it, you wouldn't. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'd leave it. I like it. I definitely don't regret it.
Hell yeah. Nope. I totally feel that. You know. I mean, not a bad tattoo, but you know, sometimes bad tattoos make the fucking best stories. So I totally hear you there. I'm not super familiar with Harry Potter, but I did see a meme that, so tell me if this is accurate. So Harry Potter, right?
Okay.
He's a high school jock who marries his high school sweetheart and then becomes a cop. Like in the most basic terms, is that accurate?
Yeah. I just hate that. That just sounds horrible.
I'm sorry. I just, honestly...
You ruined it. Thanks.
So you did allude to it a little bit earlier in the interview, but how'd you feel about Stephen King just dragging J.K. Rowling on Twitter?
I mean, you know how much I love Stephen King, so all power to him, and now I definitely want to get my Shining tattoo, so... I was actually going to bring that up.
Like which, are we thinking of the same Shining tattoo?
Which...
I am making the red rum motion with my finger.
No, I don't want a red rum tattoo.
What are you getting?
I want the key and like the pattern and the room 237. I feel like more people have the red rum tattoo than anything else.
Very true. But you know what? I mean, I would take red rum over Lover Loser any day.
Oh, for sure. That I'm not a fan.
It's not that it's a bad tattoo or anything. I just feel like the amount of ones I saw right after, like, you know, It Part 1 came out, I'm like okay, like, I knew this one girl, like, she had, like, right under the collarbone on one side, she had, like, the Lover Loser, and then she had, like, the thing from Supernatural on the other, like, and I'm like, hey, like, that's all, like, it's your body, it's whatever, but I'm like, but really? Really?
Exactly. No. Like what you like, but you couldn't find something, like, a little bit more original to commemorate that, you know?
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. I like that a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's looking to get a tattoo of something from their favorite book?
I mean, if it means a lot to you, do it. But I have tattoos that don't have any meaning, but pick something that isn't overdone, I guess. Like how we were just saying a minute ago. But make sure it means something to you, I guess, yeah.
Loran, thank you so much for being on the show today. Real quick, before we go here, is there anyone who might be listening that you might want to shout out?
Hi, Mom!
Awesome. Loran, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really cannot say thank you enough. Oh my god. Thank you.
No, you're welcome anytime.
That was wonderful. Thanks, Loran. Now, to her credit, she didn't immediately agree with me about Harry Potter being a high school jock turned cop. There was about 3 minutes or so of us going back and forth about it. It kind of became its own little tangent, so it didn't quite find its way into this episode. My next guest is also returning to the show. She's here not only to discuss tattoos that she's received, but also tattoos that she's given. This was the last interview that I recorded for the Ex-Girlfriend Tattoo podcast before I went into quarantine, so some of the references are just slightly outdated. But anyway, here's Lucy. Howdy, I'm Austin Larson, and this is the Ex-Girlfriend Tattoo podcast. I'm once again joined by my guest, Lucy Keogh.
Hey Austin, how you doing today?
Oh, doing well, thank you. Let's see, I interviewed you a couple episodes ago. It was a full feature, right?
Yeah, exactly, sure did.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, had a blast doing that. That was a lot of fun.
Well, hey, glad you had a good time. I did as well. Thanks again so much. All right.
Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Hey, anytime. All right, so right now, very currently, all of the tattoo shops are closed by order of the governor due to the whole COVID-19 thing. So what are some ways that we can support artists like you in times like these?
Best way to support artists is, buying prints and supporting their analog art forms and things like that. Also, kind of sharing their stuff around or just being like basic social media shout outs and stuff is a good way to keep attention going for them while they're kind of in this drier period.
Hell yeah. Lately, because so many people are quarantined, there's been a lot of binging going on. Have you binged anything lately? Netflix,
actually,
podcasts,
no,
Hulu?
Not a whole lot. Actually, I don't have much of the streaming services. So I've mainly just been like drawing and reading. Actually, not gonna lie, I've been playing some games. That's one of my bigger pastimes when I'm feeling kind of bored and unproductive.
What have you been playing?
Actually some old Nintendo games and stuff like that, yeah. I actually, I'm a huge Nintendo fan, so in my downtime I've been catching up on some old classics, some of the old Super Mario RPG and one of the original Metroid Primes and stuff like that, actually, yeah. They're the hardest games I've ever played.
Seriously, though?
Seriously. Compared to, like, newer games, the mechanics are very set, so you have to learn them. There's not a lot of, different ways to do things, per se. It's kind of, you have to learn the game, which is, to me, is kind of fun. Plus, nostalgic value is awesome.
Totally feel that.
Mm-hmm.
So, on that previous interview you, you mentioned a little bit that you're a fan of comics. Would you say that's still true?
Yes. I'm a big fan of comic book art and stuff like that. Illustrative art, overall, even manga is a big thing for me, especially as an artist. I think it's fascinating.
Would you consider comics literature?
In my mind, I think so, yeah. I would consider them like a light literature, It wouldn't be like heavy reading, but I definitely consider it part of the literature genre due to the fact it's a storytelling method. It's just a little more visual than others.
Awesome. I completely agree. Yeah, no, comics are definitely literature. Do you have any comics that are inspired by literature, comics, manga?
As far as tattoos?
Yeah, tattoos.
Yeah, actually, I do. One of my, on my back, actually, I have some like Zelda style pieces, which is not only, it's like a TV show, it's a game, it's also a manga as well. But that's the only one I have personally myself, actually, as far as those kind of related items go.
And I was going to ask this, really not related to comics, and I guess kind of literature, just something I kind of thought of when I was writing this. How about biblical tattoos? Do people ever approach you about doing those?
Yeah, actually, biblical tattoos are pretty common. They're for a large group of people. They're pretty popular, actually. Surprisingly enough, crosses, Bible verses, things like that would be the biggest aspect of it. Buddhist stuff also gets thrown in there quite a bit. Certain Buddhist symbols and Om symbols and things like that would be another religious item that. Not as popular as Christian stuff in America, obviously, but still up there.
Oh, definitely. What sort of comic/literary tattoos have you done?
I've done I'd say some of the more popular and bigger ones would be Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter as far as literature and stuff goes. I've done a couple Twilight tattoos. Those are always kind of fun.
I bet.
As far as comic book stuff goes, the Marvel stuff obviously is super popular. Iron Man and Captain America and stuff like that. I actually did an Iron Man not long ago, shooting a little laser ray out of his hand and stuff, real Marvel-y stuff.
Oh, no, that's really cool.
Other than that, there's actually quite a few anime and manga tattoos that I do personally. I'd say I do a little bit more of those due to the fact, I watch and read some of those things. Some of my clients, I'll tell them about it and they'll come to me because I'm not sure, just because maybe I'm into it too, I guess.
Hey, there you go. Who knows it better, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Have a fan to do it justice.
just did a JoJo's Bizarre Adventures tattoo a couple months back, and that was kind of fun, actually. It's a crazy little show.
Oh, okay. And then, yeah, you said that kind of some of the reoccurring ones, you said like Marvel's very popular.
Yeah, Marvel's definitely one of the bigger ones, for sure. Iron Man is probably one of the biggest ones I've done, or the most ones I've done out of that one. He's really popular.
All right. Would you say that there's any correlation, like, I guess timing-wise, with whenever a film adaptation gets released?
In certain instances, yeah, I would say certain people definitely kind of flock to getting imagery from some of the newer releases, Like when that Thor Ragnarok came out, I did a couple of Thors and Hulks, the same, within a week or month of that movie coming out, Even though that was a couple years ago. Recently, not as much, mainly because I've kind of pushed away from some of those things, I'm not advertising that work style as much, but still very, very popular.
All right. Sorry, just kind of had me thinking there when you said that right after like Thor came out, the Thors and Hulks. Mm-hmm. Did you do any of the like the Lover Losers like right after it?
Yeah, actually I did. I did a couple of those actually. I think 2 or 3 that I remember pretty distinctly. I remember the first one when it came in, and that was I hadn't seen it yet, so I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then that's actually why I watched it. And everything was because someone was like, oh yeah, you gotta check it out.
They fucking ripped off my tattoo.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see, and then this one, not even necessarily something that's related to comics or literature, but it could be. Just what are some of the cringier tattoo ideas clients have come to you with?
Oh man, that's a tough one, Some people get some pretty crazy little things. I haven't done too many overall, obviously, because I haven't worked in a lot of shops that kind of more of the street shop like we talked about in our last episode. I tend to work more in studio kind of ranges where some of the people who get more of the crazier, cringier ones tend to not put as much money into them because more for shock value and laugh factor, Trying to think, actually. Man, that's a tough one. I'd say one of the Twilight ones that I did, not gonna lie, was kind of a little cringy, mainly just because like they got like there's like all this love stuff with it, and like it was like a menage a trois 3-way between like the 3 main characters on the movie,
God.
Kind of thing.
But Bella, Edward,
and Jacob. Yeah. So like it was kind of like a love triangle thing, because like for them they thought that they should just they should all just got together.
What the hell?
There's no need to be exclusive. Yeah, why not just have everybody?
Well, hey, why not?
But that one just because the way they did it, it seemed a little, mainly because like their attitude and stuff. I was like, maybe I might not think so heavily about this in 10 years.
Twilight tattoos are not gonna age well.
A little Twilight menage a trois thing going down.
Oh God.
Yeah, there was a little bit of nudity and stuff involved with it, so.
I mean, but I'm sure it was, well done, Yeah,
I had fun with it, You always try to do the best you can.
Definitely.
It was just something more like I was just kind of in my head. I was like, you're stuck with this for a long time.
Wow.
But other than that, a lot of literature style stuff and things. Like I said, some of the cringier things, not too common. We went over some of those in the last episode. Some quotes, I got some, like, it's not really literature or comic book, but like music quotes and things. Some people get those kind of stuff. Kind of
in the same vein,
similar kind of style fandom kind of things. And sometimes the lyrics, they'll get put on you. Be like, yeah, I know you're feeling this right now, but
oh God,
you might not be feeling this later,
Do you have any that you can recall?
There was one that was from, I don't remember the exact words, but it was like from like a Sad Boys kind of thing. And it was, it was all kind of very emo kind of related. So, I mean, which is, whatever, but kind of in the moment. So...
I mean, I'm sure there's an alternate universe where I have like 3 Mayday Parade tattoos.
Yeah, right. I almost, when I was younger, went down that route.
Ooh.
But yeah, I try to stay away from lettering for tattoos overall. Tends to be
where's the fucking magic?
Yeah, exactly. That's like my one lettering tattoo.
But I still love that.
Yeah, that it's aged well. I got lucky.
All right. So what's one piece of advice that you'd have for someone who's looking to get a tattoo inspired by a favorite comic or a book or just any piece of literature?
Be real particular about your artist. Like I was saying earlier with certain stuff, when an artist is into something or they have an inherent enthusiasm themselves for it, you're definitely going to get, not to say other artists wouldn't do a good job, you're just going to get a little bit more enthusiasm for that particular project. It'd be more of a passion project instead of just a project for that artist. So you go in, talk to the artist, ask them about like if they're into it, and if they're into it, that'll definitely give you a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? Satisfaction with the end product overall, I think. And not only just because of the product, but the connection with the artist. There's a similarity you can share. It'll make it a lot easier to get design ideas and communicate because you're on the same page.
I like that, definitely. It's more than a paycheck,
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, not saying that tattoos are ever just a paycheck, but there's definitely some projects that you're more invested in than others, even though, they all have the same amount of, effort and quality put into them.
100%. I put 110% in all my tattoos, but like when I'm doing certain kind of style tattoos, like for games or comics or manga or stuff like that, really girly things, it just tends to be a niche that just kind of fits you, Some artists take that to an extreme. I think we talked about this in the last episode, where some artists are like specialize only in certain styles or certain kind of subject matters and things like that. I've actually worked with an artist that they only did black work spiritual symbolism. Ooh. Solely. Nothing else. That was it. So stuff like that, when you go in to talk with the artist and communicate with them, a lot of times you'll be surprised at how much better the situation will go for you. Instead of just looking at an artist and be like, oh, they have a good product, we'll go to them. It's art is personalized. You got to feel some of that.
Oh, I totally feel that. All right. And then, Lucy, what's your Instagram one more time?
My Instagram is Black Bee Tattoos. And then also at LucyKeogh89. You can check out both those linked together for a bunch of different stuff. And also a bunch of my artwork. I have prints and other things that are for sale right now. And other stuff like that. And also doing some commission projects. You just got to go ahead and DM me and we can get some more info from there.
Awesome. God, I can't fucking wait for Living Skin to be back open.
Yeah, I am dying not working. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm jonesing for that, It's like a routine. And right now trying to find something to do with my time on some things it's hard. And for everybody else, I can't wait for everybody to get back into just a more normal kind of flow of things. Right now is a big road bump.
Yeah, seriously. Do you want to give anyone a shout out who might be listening?
Yeah, shout out to everybody that's, bought any prints from me. Sold a couple recently. Super thankful for that. Also for Cam West, always got to, shout him out. Also Living Skin and everything there to work with. Gotta, love one of them guys. And to all my clients, as usual, love you guys. Patiently waiting for it. Got a lot of projects and some special deals coming out once all this quarantine stuff's over. So can't wait to see you all again.
Hell yeah. All right. Once again, Lucy, thank you so much. Thanks, Lucy. That was marvelous. She's just a wealth of information on so many different subjects. Looking back on that interview, I was exhausted and just a little underprepared for that interview, so Lucy, thank you so much for bearing with me. Yeah, I really can't believe they never used the Lonely Island's Golden Rule song in any of the Twilight films. Now, that's some bullshit. It's okay when it's in a three-way. My final guest today is someone I've known for a very long time, someone who definitely made me want to get a lot of ink when I was younger. Here's Nora. Nora, thank you so much for returning to the show.
I'm glad to be back. I was surprised, I'm not always, the best kind of guest. I talk a lot.
I'd rather have someone talk too much than not enough, seriously. It's, you were with us for the first tattoos episode. That was the most recent one, right?
Yes.
Oh, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. This is the literary tattoos episode, and you have 3 pieces you're going to be talking about today, right?
Right. I have 3 Kurt Vonnegut tattoos so far. I do plan for more, but I have 3. Yeah.
I like that so far. Okay, yeah. If you want to go ahead and just tell us a little bit about those 3.
Okay. So I got into Kurt Vonnegut the same way I think most people do. High school. Like my junior year of high school, AP English, we were assigned to read Slaughterhouse-Five. So that was my first Kurt Vonnegut book. And probably maybe 4 months before we read that book, a family friend, somebody I'd grown up with, calling my brother, had passed away. He was killed by a drunk driver. And we didn't have the funds to go back home to Oregon to like be at the funeral. So it was kind of messed up. Everybody in my family was like really upset about it. And we were reading Slaughterhouse-Five. Spoiler alert, I mean, it's an old book, so if you haven't read it, that's not my fault. But
You dropped out of
there's
high
like
school. It
this
should have finished, right?
there's like this part where Billy Pilgrim is talking to these aliens, the Trmalfadorians, and they tell him to not be sad about death because it's linear, because you're alive in every other point in time. So instead of being upset about death, they say, so it goes. So that was my first Kurt Vonnegut tattoo. I got the "so it goes" phrase on my wrist when I was like 19 years old. And I got that in a shady place. It was that time I told you about the last time I was on the podcast. If you haven't heard that episode, go peep that episode, y'all. It was like a text, like a mass text that was like, bring as many people as you can to this like warehouse and come get tattooed. So I got that one in a warehouse. Not, the best time in my life, but it's a good tattoo. It's stuck around. It looks good still. It's in white ink because I was afraid to get a tattoo to tell my mom. So I got it in white, and the guy who did it was like, you don't want it in white. It's going to fade. You're not even going to see it in a year, which I've now learned is true for some people. I'm just lucky that, I'm almost 28 and the tattoo is still legible. You can still see it. It just looks like a scar. So it actually looks good for the fact that I got it in a warehouse. But, we don't talk about that.
I mean, I feel like, not saying it's a bad tattoo, of course, but I feel like bad tattoos always have the best stories.
Yes, I mean, it could definitely be better. And after I started getting more line work done and like I have some other lettering done, I can see the faults in it. And I think that if it was in color, I might not be as happy with it as I am. It's more forgiving, I guess, because it looks like a scar. So that's why, you go to a shop. So the other two I have are Kurt Vonnegut's signature, and then I also have the gravestone from Slaughterhouse-Five that says everything was beautiful and nothing hurt. And I got the everything was beautiful and nothing hurt tattoo in 2013, and the biggest like joke of that tattoo, every single person after I got it would poke it and be like, I bet that hurt, huh? So that was fun. And okay, that was probably the last tattoo I got done in a place that wasn't a shop. I got that done in somebody's mother's kitchen, and she came home like on her lunch break and was like, what are you doing? And it was like he had to explain to his mom that he was tattooing somebody in her kitchen. After that, though, I swear, I started going to shops. Okay.
It's funny. I actually remember like you texting me like while you were getting the tattoo, and I remember getting a photo of the headstone like right after it was finished, and I just, oh man, that was throwing me back there for a sec.
Yeah, it was a fun tattoo. It's on my like upper bicep. I think at the time it was my biggest tattoo. And then finally that guy who I've talked about him before, he finally got a permanent place at a shop. And so I went to him and he did Kurt Vonnegut's signature right above it, up on like my shoulder area. And the Kurt Vonnegut signature is from, it's not just the signature, because he does have like a really intricate signature if you ever look it up.
He does.
It's the one that he would connect it at the end to make like hair and a face. You see that like iconically on the cover of A Man Without a Country.
Okay.
Which is a collection of essays. A lot of them are like super political. I think most famously in it, he has that whole line where like, babies of the world, you've got to be kind.
Yes.
And I adore him. I think it was like after I read Slaughterhouse-Five, I just devoured every book I could find of his. And I don't keep a whole lot of books in my house anymore, but we do have like a whole shelf of just every Kurt Vonnegut book, I think. And every year if they release something new from him, like I buy it. I mean, I have to get it. So The Man Without a Country, though, was very interesting signature-wise because it makes his face. My mom hates this tattoo because she says that it's my little old man. And she hates that I have him up like she calls it near my face because he's on top of my shoulder and he's facing me. And it's like, I like the little old man. I don't know, man.
No, it's a dope tattoo. Would you say that you still like your favorite work by Vonnegut? Is it the same as it was when you were younger starting to get those tattoos, or has it evolved a little bit?
It's evolved because I think Slaughterhouse-Five is one of the more easier reads, and I think that's why they, I guess not easier.
It's the book
it's
it's the Vonnegut book they give to high schoolers for a reason, right?
right, because you can digest it and you can make sense of it, and it doesn't have anything that's too political in it. They're able to stay neutral, even though there's a whole lot in it that if you wanted to talk about it deeper, you could. Because it's PTSD, it's dealing with war trauma, but you don't really go into that when you're in high school. But I think it's evolved a bit. I mean, I love him as a writer, and I think I found that I liked a lot more of his like books that are just short essays because he's just talking of his own accord, kind of to the audience.
Definitely. I'd agree with that. And then you still love Kurt Vonnegut. I mean, I feel like Vonnegut's something so many of us are exposed to, while we're younger, but it's something that you don't really fully appreciate when you're in high school, but after life's kind of, kicked you in the teeth a few times and you've been out in the real world. I mean, Vonnegut, he just makes that much more sense.
Right. And I think I might not have had as close of a connection to it if I wasn't like such a extremely emotional teenager. I was dealing with a death, and I had already been kind of this person who was at extremes all the time as a teenager. Like high school isn't easy for anybody, but I was always like towing the line of like, I'm gonna fucking kill myself today, or like whatever, I'll see what tomorrow is. And I like did that all the time, and so I was always kind of like one extreme or the other. And I mean, I don't know, I think I could have easily just been like, this is a good story. But I think talking about death in a way that was like neutral was helpful. And it made me really into his style of writing.
No, definitely. That completely makes sense. I mean, it kind of sucks that we're going to have to die to hear the album that, Elliott Smith and Kurt Vonnegut are working on right now. So I feel you there.
Well, Mitch Hedberg will be there.
Greg Giraldo's the opener, so.
Yeah.
Why are all my heroes dead?
They're all dead, and they were all sad people. Although Kurt Vonnegut had a really great quote. I think it was in Rolling Stone towards the end of his old age, where he was like, I'm going to sue Pall Malls because they've been telling me since I was 13 that I'm going to die because I smoke, and I still haven't died. And he smoked them unfiltered. Oh
my
Pall
God.
Malls.
Braver than me. Back when I was smoking a pack and a half a day, I was always a pussy. I needed that filter.
Me too. And I smoked hardcore. I quit smoking 3 years ago now because I had to. But I smoked like over a pack and a half, 2 packs a day almost sometimes. And it was Marlboro Red 100s. I was Cowboy Killers.
How did we smoke the same brand growing up? Well, I mean, makes sense. But I think when I quit, I was the Turkish Royals.
Turkish Royals. Those make me think of being like a sophomore in high school.
Well, that's when I started smoking. So yeah, I think I bummed one like 2 weeks ago while I was drunk, and I was out with a friend, and like I was like, hey, can I have a drag before you kill that? She's like, okay, but I'm not the one who got you to fucking start smoking cigarettes again. And I'm like, I'm drunk. I just want a little bit. I mean, I haven't had one since, so we're good.
Nothing can make me want to smoke more than like a Kurt Vonnegut book and like an Elliott Smith tract. So.
I hope they have a smoking section in heaven. If Bill Hicks is there, they have to, right?
Correct.
Any of those 3 pieces, is there anything you'd change?
Well, okay. I would change one thing. I got my headstone uncentered. It's on the side of my bicep, more towards me. And so there's an empty space behind it. And I did that at the time because I was like, I'm just going to get my next Kurt Vonnegut piece like super soon. And they're going to look great together. And someday they will look great together. But it's obvious that, it's 2020 and I still haven't put one there. And I got the headstone in 2013. So I always kind of think like when I wear like short sleeves or I look at it myself in the mirror, that I have this like floating headstone that doesn't make a lot of sense where it's at. And like the signature makes sense where it is because it goes with it. But it's just like there's this whole blank spot on the back of my arm and I haven't put anything there. So I wish I had maybe centered it or had saved up enough money to just do them both at the same time. I don't know. Because I want to get the bomb from Breakfast of Champions. It says Goodbye Blue Monday.
Oh,
and I want that to be behind it, and then I want to get like as filler between the two, like the little butthole asterisk, and I just haven't done it, and I need to, because that's the only thing I'd probably change, because I feel like I'm always walking around with just this floating big ass headstone.
So what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone who's considering getting a tattoo from maybe their favorite book or novel or piece of literature?
I say do it. I think that if it's a book or literature, you're never going to regret it because you like it. I've had so many people make fun of my "So It Goes" tattoo because they're like, "You're a girl who's been on Tumblr before, right?" And like this idea that it's cheesy, but it's like it meant something to me, so I don't care. And even if it didn't mean something to me, because I really don't think all tattoos need to mean anything, I still got it because it's cool. So if you're gonna get a literary tattoo, don't get it in a warehouse. Don't get it in someone's mom's kitchen, but get it because you want it, and get it somewhere where you're going to be safe and they're going to take care of you and you're going to love it.
If anyone just says, oh, you're some girl from Tumblr, it's like, you know what? Fuck you. Insomnia isn't for the weak.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I had to.
That's so true.
Nora, thank you so much for your time. Real quickly here before we go, is there anyone listening to the program you might want to shout out today?
As always, I'm going to shout out the girl who does my tattoos now. She's in Dallas, the Carrollton area of Texas, and she does extremely beautiful work. She does watercolor, she does line work, she does hyperrealism. She's also just an artist in general. She went to school for art. She's so cool. Her name's Taylor Weber. It's weber.artworks on Instagram. She's super, super cool. And I think she deserves all the hype. She's only been tattooing for like, I think 2 years formally now, but her work is insane.
Well, thank you for that. That's a very important distinction. For your tattoo artist, you want an artist who happens to do tattoos, not someone who does tattoos and occasionally art. You know, I feel that. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right. Nora, thank you so much for being back on the program. Thank you for your time and wisdom. Can't wait to hear from you again.
Thank you.
Nora, that was awesome. Thank you so much. I've known Nora for like 15 years now, so Nora, thanks for being a friend through fucking everything. I don't know exactly how many Kurt Vonnegut assholes I have tattooed on my right arm, but I do know for every one of those assholes, I have 3 dots. Nothing feels quite as good as a fully finished tattoo project. Speaking of which, the last tattoo I received before the statewide non-essential shutdown was the outline of my full back piece. When businesses were first being allowed to reopen in phases, if tattoo shops weren't going to be allowed to open at the same time as salons and barbershops, I was planning a little bit of a protest by just not cutting my hair until tattoos were allowed. However, they were allowed to open simultaneously. Since then, I've had 3 4-hour sessions done on my back, and even then, it's not quite finished yet. But 0 haircuts. So if you're wondering where my priorities lay, there you go. Even after this pandemic is over, I really hope that wearing a mask in public if you even think you might be contagious just sticks around. Wear a mask, wash your hands, Black Lives Matter. Thanks for listening, I hope you've enjoyed. I'm Austin Larson, and this has been the Ex-Girlfriend Tattoo Podcast.